charges, engine overhaul gaskets, suspension parts, and body parts. If they don't have parts you're looking for, they can order within 5 to 10 working days. To top it up, Shuma Auto Parts also supply Maxxis tires and CST tires.
Really? But where are they found?
They are found on Chandram Sonda Road, Cruiser Auto Workshop in Lusaka. Call on 0979 192057 and 0960 747235. Email shumaautoparts@gmail.com. Shuma Auto Parts for all your genuine vehicle parts.
The happy world of 5FM Radio, your adult contemporary radio station in Zambia, connecting you to the newsmakers and events that make news in the global village.
Good evening. This is a 5FMA News at 18:30 with Judith Mwape. The headlines. Zambians urged to reject divisive messages being propagated by ethnic tribal groups. Newly recruited health workers urged to adhere to ethics as they discharge their duties. Hundreds of thousands flee Al Jazeera safe haven. And now the news in detail. A Lusaka-based clergyman, John Mambo, has implored Zambians to resist and reject the divisive message being propagated by ethnic tribal groups with political agendas, as it poses a serious threat to national cohesion. Bishop Mambo said those seeking to distort and undermine the unity established by the first Republican president, Kenneth Kaunda, must not be allowed to erode the national identity. He has expressed worry over the rise of sectarianism manifested through the growing formation of tribal groups with regionalistic agendas rather than a nationalistic focus. Bishop Mambo has noted that this trend is not only regressive but also detrimental to the national development goals. He has appealed to the church, civil society, the labor movement, and traditional leaders to unite and advocate for unity and peace.
Therefore, I call upon civil society, the labor movement, and traditional leaders must unite to advocate for unity and peace. I implore my fellow Zambians to resist and reject these messages propagated by ethnic tribal groups with political agendas. It poses a serious threat to our nation cohesion.
Zambian ambassador to Egypt, Topli Lubaya, has called for the revision and operationalization of the Memorandum of Understanding on scholarships, citing the expiration of existing agreements in a bid to enhance educational cooperation between Zambia and Egypt. The ambassador made this announcement during a briefing to Dr. John Machai, Chief Executive Officer of the Higher Education Loans and Scholarships Board, and board member Leonard Mwanza in Alexandria, Egypt. Major General Lubaya highlighted that the last Egypt-Zambia Joint Permanent Commission occurred in 2010, resulting in various MOUs being signed between the two nations. Currently, 40 Zambian students are enrolled in Egyptian institutions, including Cairo University and Alexandria University, pursuing studies in medicine, engineering, pharmaceutical sciences, agriculture, and commerce.
All the MOUs that are existing currently for Algeria, Tunisia, and Egypt, they were signed in 2009 and 2010. They have lived their lifespan. There is need to revisit them, review them, and then bring in some of the aspects that we want to better the new MOUs so that our children, as they come to these institutions of learning, they should be taken care of properly. So that is where we are at the moment. And we are appealing to the Ministry of Education, General Education in Zambia, to be able to quickly move with HELOSB to bring in the revised MOU so that
and Higher Education Loans and Scholarships Board Chief Executive Officer Dr. Machai affirmed his dedication to expediting the renewal of the MOU, emphasizing the need to enhance the quality of scholarships for Zambian students. He insisted on maintaining educational standards during the revision process, prioritizing the improvement of scholarship programs. Dr. Machai is currently in Egypt at the invitation of the Egypt-Japan University of Science and Technology to discuss possible scholarship opportunities and cooperation between the two institutions. The government, with support from the World Bank, has handed over 6 motor vehicles to the Zambia National Services for provincial blood centers dotted across the country. The vehicles, valued at about $350,000, have been supported through the World Bank's COVID-19 project. World Bank Zambia country manager Akim Fok says the handover marks the beginning of a series of support to the National Blood Transfusion Services. Dr. Falk says support includes rehabilitation of the 10 provincial blood centers and the establishment of 20 blood hubs, 2 in each province, as well as blood collection and distribution, estimated to cost $3.5 million in the next 18 months, among others. He said this in a speech read on his behalf by Bank Senior Operation Officer John Makumba during the handover ceremony at the Zambia National Blood Transfusion Services UTH grounds.
And vehicles for mobilization, for blood collection, distribution. I must state here that the vehicles that we have here will only cover 6 provinces, but the remaining 4 will definitely deliver in due course. This support is expected to continue within the next 18 months, and the government and the bank are investing approximately 3.5 million in blood safety.
Speaking at the same event, Health Minister Silva Masebo says government is refining blood transfusion-related policies and improving infrastructure and equipment to save lives and improve the health outcomes of citizens.
The availability of blood and related products should be on time for all patients requiring blood transfusion services. This should be to all our people in all parts of the country and in all facilities. Therefore, public health facilities, the faith-based facilities, military affiliated facilities, and indeed the private facilities are all served and included in our shared goal of making blood services reaching all our people.
Earlier, Zambia National Blood Transfusion Services Medical Director Joseph Mulenga expressed confidence that the vehicles will enhance blood donor recruitment and blood donor retention programs. In the meantime, 4 new cholera deaths have been recorded in the last 24 hours in Lusaka province, leading to 46 cumulative deaths recorded as of today, 19th December 2023. Further, 74 cholera new cases have been recorded in the last 24 hours in Lusaka, bringing the cumulative number of cases recorded to 1,669 cases so far. And Eastern Province recorded 1 new case, which was a death. The Health Professions Council of Zambia has reminded the newly recruited 3,000 health workers by the Ministry of Health to adhere to ethics as they discharge their duties. HPCZ Public Relations Manager Terry Musonda believes that the recruited personnel have acquired the relevant skills and competences, hence they should not portray a negative attitude which may result in the public losing confidence in them. Mr. Musonda says the Council is of the view that human resources for health are a critical ingredient in the provision of quality health services to the members of the community and the public.
But from a regulatory point of view and based on what we've been getting from social media and then coming across through the public out there, I think issues of attitude are also critical. So in addition to the 3 OMADs, which are knowledge, practice, and competence, we are saying attitude, attitude, and attitude. It's very critical because if somebody is knowledgeable, is well skilled, able to practice, if the attitude is negative, is bad, then everything is watered down. So we urge them to be as ethical as they can and professional as they can when they start working.
Former Vice President Enoch Kavindele has commenced his duty as head of the SADC Electoral Observation Mission to the presidential, legislative and provincial elections in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, which will take place tomorrow. This follows his appointment by President Hakainde Hichilema in his capacity as chair of the SADC organ for politics, defense and security cooperation. The president also appointed Ambassador Lazarus Kapambwe as alternate head of mission. The head of SADC Electoral Observation Mission officially launched the Electoral Observation Mission in Kinshasa, DRC, on 16 December 2023. The SADC Electoral Observation Mission has been deployed to 14 out of 26 regions of the DRC to observe the pre- and post-election phases as well as the electoral processes on the polling day. The mission's objective is to observe and assess the elections in accordance with the revised SADC principles and guidelines governing democratic elections. As part of his engagements, the head of mission held meetings with various stakeholders, including the DRC's Independent National Electoral Commission, on matters pertaining to the forthcoming elections. The head of mission and alternate are working closely with representatives of the SADC organ Troika from Zambia, Tanzania, and Namibia, as well as the SADC Secretariat, the SADC Electoral Advisory Council, and the SADC Panel of Elders. In other stories trending this evening, the Access to Information Coalition has raised concerns that the final Access to Information Bill document, recently passed by Parliament, has failed to incorporate submissions made by various stakeholders. The Solwezi Subordinate Court has convicted and sentenced former National Pension Scheme Authority NAPSA accounts clerk Stark Simbaya to 2 years imprisonment with hard labor for fraud involving over 2 million kwacha. Up next, the business news.
5FM Radio Business News. We mean business. Keep you current in commerce, trade, and industry, local and global. It's our business to keep you informed business.
The Drug Enforcement Commission, DEC, on the Copperbelt has successfully apprehended a 64-year-old British national of Tanzanian origin, identified as Semahimbo Juma Yusuf, for trafficking in over 5.734 kilograms of cocaine. Drug Enforcement Commission Public Relations Officer Mwenge Mlenga says Mr. Yusuf was arrested at Simon Mwanza Kapwepwe International Airport in Ndola as he attempted to check in for a local flight en route to Germany via Lusaka and South Africa. Mr. Mlenga says Mr. Yusuf, an ex-convict in the UK, is associated with an international drug cartel operating in Tanzania and Germany. He said preliminary investigations indicate that the suspect entered the country via a Tanzanian airline and received the illicit consignment from unidentified accomplices who infiltrated the country through road transport. Mr. Mlenga said laboratory tests confirmed the seized substance to be cocaine, and the Commission has since issued a stern warning emphasizing its commitment to heightened vigilance and an intensified cross-border surveillance initiative.
When you look at the significant quantities of narcotics seized in this operation, it underscores the potential threats posed by drug trafficking, endangering our communities, especially considering the high value of the seized substance. Despite having criminal elements attempting to exploit our strategic geographical location, which facilitate trade in the region, we remain resolute in our efforts to eradicate these vices and safeguarding the nation while collaborating with other law enforcement agencies.
5FM Radio Business News. We mean business. Keep you current in commerce, trade, and industry, local and global. It's our business to keep you informed about business.
And now in foreign news, at least 250,000 people have fled fighting in a Sudanese state once seen as a safe haven for those escaping the civil war, the United Nations said. The paramilitary rapid support forces have advanced into the city of Wad Madani in Al Jazeera state. For months, both places have housed large numbers seeking safety from fighting in the capital Khartoum. Here's Rhonda from the BBC.
The United Nations says the conflict in Sudan has forced more than 3.5 million children to flee their homes since it broke out in April, making it the worst child displacement crisis in the world. In recent days, the paramilitary rapid support forces have advanced into an area that had been considered a safe zone for displaced people. More than 2,000 platinum miners in South Africa have stayed below ground since Monday in another major protest over working conditions. The management of Impala Platinum Holdings says it's suspended all operations at the mine in the northwest of the country. More opposition members of the Indian Parliament have been suspended as part of a deepening row over a security breach. This brings the number temporarily expelled to more than half.
And finally, in sports news, Arsene Wenger says FIFA's expanded Club World Cup can make football really global and should not just be looked at from a European perspective. The 32-team event will begin in 2025 with 12 European clubs, including Manchester City and Chelsea. World Players Union, FIPRO, and City boss Pep Guardiola have expressed concern at the plans. However, Wenger, FIFA's chief of global football development, says it is a chance for other clubs to progress. Having championed the idea of a biennial World Cup only for it to be dropped amid fierce opposition, the Frenchman wants to find ways of making all the confederations as strong as Europe's UEFA. And now the weather report brought to you by Classicon.
Class Econ Roofing Africa.
Class Econ Roofing, plot 17100 off Katanga Road, 150 meters from Mumbwa Road, Chinika Industrial Area, Lusaka. Class Econ Roofing. Class plus economy.
Class Econ. Class Econ Roofing Africa. Class Econ.
Northwestern, Western, Southern, Lusaka, Central, Copperbelt, Luapula, and Northern provinces, including the southern parts of Eastern Province, are mainly cloudy, slightly windy and mild, with isolated rain and thunder. Muchinga and the northern parts of Eastern Province are partly cloudy, slightly windy and mild, with a slight chance of isolated rain and occasional thunder. That ends the weather report.
Class Econ Roofing Africa.
Class Econ Roofing, plot 17100 off Katanga Road, 150 meters from Mumbwa Road, Chinika Industrial Area, Lusaka. Class Econ Roofing. Class plus economy.
Class Econ. Class Econ Roofing Africa. Class Econ.
And that weather item brings us to the end of the news this evening. But before we go, a recap of the top stories. Zambians urged to reject divisive messages being propagated by ethnic tribal groups. Newly recruited health workers urged to adhere to ethics as they discharge their duties. Hundreds of thousands flee Al Jazeera safe haven. For more news, follow us on Facebook, 5FM Radio Zambia. On behalf of the entire news crew and the technical department, thank you for listening to the Happy World of 5FM. Stay safe and stay tuned to 5FM Radio. I'm Judith Mwape. Good evening.